Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, we're ranking every playmaking badge in NBA 2K21 Next Gen in tiers F to S. So we're going to start from the bottom, go to the top. I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. Let's try this one to 1K likes in the first 24 hours as always. And if you're new to the series, you've already done the finishing and defense format of this exact same video. So if you want to check that out after this vid, feel free to. We got the shooting coming to you guys tomorrow for those who are on the lookout for that as well. So just stay tuned. Other than that, like I said, hope y'all enjoy and let's get straight into playmaking. So with these tier lists in the F tier, I typically put badges that are 100% useless, would never run in any situation, and I don't feel like that's the case with any playmaking badges. I feel like it's super good at the top, and then also it's very good from the C, D, and E tier as well. However, with all of that said, stop and go is something that I personally would put in the F tier, but I've been peer pressured by you guys to at least put this a little bit higher. Some people, they really feel this stop and go badge, but me personally, I feel like if you can quick stop without stop and go anyway in any game, like we're talking all the way back to when we were doing these tier lists in 2K20 and people would tell me stop and go was useful, and then I see my point guards and even myself, if I ever wanted to, just come out here and quick stop with no stop and go or anything like that. I feel like to have that animation unlocked where you can just quick stop anyway by just flicking down on the stick or just let go of everything after doing a rhythm dribble or just any dribble move in general, what's the point of having the badge? And just in general, I would never run my points on this. So personally, this is something that I would have in the F tier, but I've been peer pressured by you guys to at least respect to some extent. So if there's one badge that I would say is useless and would belong in the F tier, it's definitely this one. So for break starter, typically in the past, you always have one playmaking badge no matter what. So if you didn't touch your playmaking at all and you're some 7'3" pure glass cleaner or something like that, you still have the one playmaking badge to use, and typically all those people, because they have super low pass accuracy, would just put it on break starter. That's not the case this year. You can literally have 0 playmaking badges. So if you're somebody who didn't upgrade any pass accuracy, ball handling, or speed with ball, you don't get any playmaking badges anyway. So that completely takes this factor completely out of here, where we can't even evaluate the 7'3" pure rims or anything like that because y'all can't even get break starter. So for anybody who has their playmaking upgraded, I would suggest that you would have just upgraded pass accuracy in the first place. Typically, I would assume any of the hybrids, like the 6'7" out there who want to try and play some big man when it comes to like the rec or the pro-am or anything like that, or you're just playing the 3 when it comes to 3v3, you have perfectly fine pass accuracy to be able to pass the ball down the court without having to worry about break starter. However, the pass accuracy itself is going to get the ball there faster. I don't think break starter accelerates the pass at all. I think it's really just all about pass accuracy. And then check this out. For anybody who doesn't know about this in the first place, if you feel like you're overthrowing everything and it's going out of bounds toward the baseline on your fast break passes, take off icon lead passing, or you can just double bumper. So you can R1 L1 or RB LB for Xbox as well. Just keep all that in mind. Turn off your icon pass leading when it comes to controller settings, and then RB LB, and you'll just throw it to the deepest guy without having to move your left stick anywhere where it will icon lead pass somebody. So for the D tier, we got relay passer, downhill, and tight handles. Now the reason tight handles is in white, I promise you guys, this is way more organized with this list toward the top with the C, B, A, and S tier, but there are just some badges that I really don't know how to gauge early on. We're giving this video to you guys and giving my early opinions and stuff like that, because granted, this is only like 9 days in, maybe 10 days in to 2K21 Next Gen even releasing, and this is my early take on all the badges. Personally, I don't know too much about tight handles. I can see the potential with this badge because Curry slide and behind the back is super meta this year. Obviously, when it comes to the ISO, feels like the two relevant ball handler moves that you can even do in the game. But with that said, I don't know if tight handles even activates on those. Now, I know it did with the behind the back in 2K21 current gen, and then it also did especially in 2K20 when it was still in the game, and tight handles was a top tier badge because of the behind the back. As soon as the behind the back got patched, tight handles became completely irrelevant. So I don't know how to gauge this. My gut was telling me to go with C, but personally, I just didn't want to gas this badge up too much, and it really doesn't even feel like it would compare to the C tier badges anyway. So just keep in mind, my personal opinion, tight handles belongs in D tier, at least for now. And if you guys have any disagreements with this, again, feel free to let me know. Feedback is going to be major key for anybody who's watching these videos, especially early on in the situation. But anything above D tier, I 100% feel like belongs in the exact same tier that it's in, and I feel very justified as far as this list goes. So now for downhill, the reason it's so low on the list, it's very particular. So not only is it only relevant for say 3v3, 5v5 situations, never going to be used in 2v2, on top of that, it's so specific where it's only fast breaks, obviously. Now granted, that's what the badge is supposed to be good for, clearly, but I just would not waste 4 of your Hall of Fame playmaking badges, or just 3, 2, 1, whatever it is, on a badge like this. Now, what I will say about this badge, however, is I could see 5v5 Pro-Am situations where everybody could be a viable ball handler and you decide you want to run a 6'8" at the big man or something like that, and then he has playmaking ability as well. I could totally see why you would run this badge, because me personally, I've been in this exact same situation in 2K20. So I would grab rebounds with the 6'9" finisher. I have pretty solid ball handling ability. I have 7 playmaking badges. And then the point of what I'm saying here is that 6'8" could just have everybody else on the floor just completely spread the court, where you have all 4 people going corner, corner, wing, wing, and just like that, you're just outrunning your matchup, and then boom, you just pass the wide open guy wherever they crash down from, or you just have it wide open down the lane. But even at that, I feel like the impact of this badge just belongs in the D tier. Anything above this, I would recommend to just be running anyway. I just don't feel like this is going to pop up enough times in a game to where you're going to feel like it's of the importance of 4 of your badge points when it comes to the playmaking category, especially if you're at a deficit when it comes to how many you can actually run. Something for relay passer, obviously this is more of a point guard badge, if you will. You would think it's something that would involve like your bigs and the corner guys, but really, again, this is just a point guard badge to supplement your big not having dimer. Now here's how I personally feel, all right? Every build can get dimer in this game. Centers, power forwards, small forwards, whatever it may be. They can all get dimer, they can all get floor general. So why would you not just run dimer as the big man? That's the way I see it. I guess relay passer might stack on top of your big man's dimer. So for anybody who doesn't know what this badge does, I'm just going to essentially run it down. So essentially, you as the point guard, when you pass to your big man and your big man kicks it to the corner, it's like an additional dimer boost. You're giving your big man dimer if he doesn't have it. Now, I don't know if that stacks with if your big man did have dimer and then relay passer is also coming into function with that. I would assume that it does. Either way, I don't think the boost is something significant enough. And you as a point guard, if you're running the show, whether it's 3v3 or Pro-Am, because again, this is a badge that does not relate to 2v2 at all, and that's also why this is a little bit lower on the list. I just don't think it makes sense to be running this badge over the things that are above this in the tier list. So in the C tier, we got Bailout, Needle Threader, Space Creator. 2 very glue badges when it comes to the passing in 2K21 Next Gen. I feel like Bailout is obviously a little bit of a, it only pertains to your playstyle, essentially. So like dudes like Ticino on the 2v2 court, when you're going up with the spin jumpers, regular just off dribble fades, anything like that, and then you realize you don't want to go up with the shot, boom, just pass it out to your teammate. And sometimes it even baits the opponent that is guarding your big, if you will, to drop down and maybe crash for the rebound or crash for the help defense, whatever it may be. This is the thing. I feel like, again, it's just related to your play style. I wouldn't recommend this in a lot of settings when it comes to 3v3 and Pro-Am, but it is still nice to have to bail you out, obviously, of bad shot attempts that you might want to just pass out of. So it is what it is. Like I said, as far as the comp stuff, I feel like it's a solid C tier. Anything higher than that, though, would just be giving it a little bit too much respect, in my opinion. So then for Needle Threader, like I said, a very glue badge when it comes to the passing. Not every point guard is going to want to run this, and it's not going to fit all of their styles as well, just like Bailout. However, for the very, I would say, pass heavy point guards who are going to want to like pass it even when the pass doesn't feel like it's there, or you want to be the dude who's going to dot the corner whenever the corner drops for your big on the pick and rolls. A lot of this passing stuff that we're talking about is 3v3 related, like downhill, relay passer, Needle Threader. All this stuff only factors into 3v3 in my opinion. Needle Threader, I don't think you need at all when it comes to 2v2, because personally, you gotta help if you're gonna help this year. Like if you're gonna crash down to try and help on the drive, you got to help or else you're gonna get dunked on. So you don't really need Needle Threader when it comes to the 2s, like I said, because it's all about just helping, 100% committing, and then you have an easy pass to the corner. It's just evident, so you don't need this badge. So with all that said, you're probably wondering, well, why is it in the C tier? Like I said, it's a very effective badge when it comes to the Pro-Am. I would say very essential badge when it comes to Pro-Am, and even for the point guards that are trying to like run the show, if you will, and like I said, for dotting the corners, dotting your bigs on passes that might not even essentially be there, but either way, you guys get the deal. Very solid 3v3 and Pro-Am badge, not really necessary when it comes to the 2v2 court. So then we got Space Creator. This is going to be very relevant to your playstyle and where you play. I will say it's definitely the worst of all of these C tier badges right here, but I don't believe it belongs in the D tier with these ones right here. So again, very relevant to what playstyle you have. For 2v2 court, I would say this is definitely a good badge. For anything else though, probably not the most effective thing. And really what it comes down to again is, like I said, your play style. If you're going to be dribbling around, doing the hop jumpers and stuff like that, trying to make people stumble and then shoot off of those, it is very effective in that sense. But if you don't even do hop jumpers, then boom, badge is just 100% ineffective. So again, C tier is more of like the solid mediocre badges. D tier is ones that I just wouldn't run in general, and E is pretty much what I feel like is essentially useless. Now the B tier is when things start getting real good. So we got Floor General, Unpluckable, Special Delivery, aka Flashy Passer, and then we got Ankle Breaker as well. Now I gotta say, first and foremost, it's very good to see Ankle Breaker finally in this upper echelon of the ranking system. For as long as I've been doing these ranking videos, Ankle Breaker has always just been in this E tier, F tier, maybe D tier, but for it to finally be in the B tier. And honestly, I feel like as we see this game advance and where dribbling might be learned a little bit better, where dudes like Steezo and G-Man are just gonna be going crazy into my court and teaching everybody the moves, honestly, Ankle Breaker might even find its way into the A tier, because from what I've seen so far, to just spam snatchbacks and little step backs and ankle breaking moves is super effective, like for you to be able to get yourself open off of. And obviously for the flashiness of it, I mean, it just looks really cool and it's obviously entertaining as well. So Ankle Breaker is finally in the B tier. I don't see it that much higher right now, but I can see it eventually moving into the A. So for Special Delivery, still a very effective badge. Obviously with Flashy Passer in 2K20, it was super effective as well. 2K21 current gen, still very effective. Now, the reason this is in the B tier instead of the A tier, I would say, is how specified it is for what court it's on, because I feel like the only place this is super effective for is 2v2. For 3v3, it gets really weird because you can't icon Flashy Pass necessarily, and maybe someone can prove me wrong. I know I've messed around with the controller settings a whole lot and tried to see if you can, and I feel like from what I've seen you can't. But anyway, my whole point is, on the 3v3 court, it's very hard to be so specific with where you're passing, because if you have a guy in the wing and a guy in the corner, it gets real tough to just force it to the corner if that's where you're trying to get it to, because generally the game's going to think that you're directional passing to the wing just because of the closeness and stuff like that. It's just stupid, all right? So anyway, my whole point is, only effective on 2v2 court. And also, I gotta say, I don't feel like slash mashing is about as good as it used to be. I feel like there's a whole lot better clamps animations and stuff like that. Now for all the people who have played 2K21 Next Gen, everybody's listening to me like, yo, what are you talking about? Slashing is super OP in this game. Yes, I understand that, but it's also because people can shoot and you have to respect their jump shots, and then obviously, you know, that just leads to them getting past you. My whole point is, with Flashy Passer slashing, like paint mashing if you will, that was a whole rhyme right there. With the flashy plus slashing combo equaled pretty much just find your way to the paint, you're just gonna triple threat and just go, just like that. Now with the clamps and the bump animations, I feel like that's a lot harder to do, so it's a little bit harder to force the slashing to where you're trying to get it in the time amount that you have with the Flashy Pass to still activate. So just keep that in mind. But again, super effective 2v2 badge. It's going to go crazy with the takeover. This combined with Hot Shot is literally broken. And then this combined with Heat Seeker on top of that is still broken too. So then we got Unpluckable. I don't think I need to talk about this badge too much. You guys know exactly what it's good for. Just stop you from getting poked. It's still very effective in that sense as well. I feel like that does kind of tie itself into the ball handling attribute though, to where the people who I've kind of surveyed that have the high ball handling are the ones that are hard to poke, and I don't know if it's just because of the ball handling or if it's because of Unpluckable. Either way, it pretty much is just tied hand in hand with ball handling, and I gotta say, it's still effective. I feel like people have literally dribbled straight into me, and I still don't get the steals of like 84 steal and gold pickpocket. Sometimes. I will say, Unpluckable is very important in that sense as well, because you guys have seen, if you watch the video of does steal rating matter in 2K21 Next Gen, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. If you watched the video, you saw I was getting crazy pokes on ball and stuff like that. And honestly, it was a low overall that probably didn't have Unpluckable. And then on top of that, it was some guy who didn't even seem like he was a competent ball handler. My whole point is, it's obviously pretty self-explanatory. The higher this is, the less likely you are to get stolen. And the higher your ball handling is, as the same thing as well. So again, just keep that in mind. It does probably just tie into the ball handling rating itself. But either way, Unpluckable still belongs in the B tier in my opinion. And then we have Floor General. Low key, man, I feel like Floor General was something that I could think about putting in the A tier, but I just feel like with how everybody can shoot in this game, and I feel like the builds that have like 60-ish three-pointer, that's not even a thing anymore. But in years past, that was what Floor General was super important for. Now, what I will say is, for you to be able to get the ball handling boost for the 6-7s and stuff like that is still a very nice perk. And then even if you can get the three-pointer boost, it's still going to be effective. But anyway, my whole point is, I don't think a lot of people need the boost of the Floor General. So it is what it is. Let me know if I got this badge wrong as well. Again, you guys can feel free to leave all your feedback that you want in the comments. That's what this series is about, is hearing your guys' feedback compared to my feedback. So let me know what you think of Floor General as well. So in the A tier, we got Dimer, Bullet Passer, and Handles for Days. So for those who haven't played the next gen stuff, you probably don't even know what Bullet Passer is, and it sounds pretty interesting to you most likely. But let's talk about Dimer and Handles for Days first of all. So for anybody who's played 2K20, 2K21 current gen, 2K21 next gen, you guys know, obviously these are like glue playmaking badges. Like you need these to be super high as an effective point guard. It is what it is. The higher you can have the Dimer, the better. The higher you can have Handles for Days, the better. However, I will say, Handles for Days used to be potential S tier. This year, I feel like, honestly, Stamina is pretty straightforward. Dribbling stamina is pretty straightforward. And it's a little bit devalued if you ask me, but for you to still have this badge at a high level is obviously going to be very important if you want to be dribbling, like comboing and stuff like that. Now, if you're pretty straightforward, you just hit one dribble move and go. You don't need hands for days super high, but either way, it's still a very effective badge to have at a high rating. It is what it is, like I explained. So my one last mention of Dimer. If you play with somebody who's not the most consistent shooter, aka they just can't time it very well, or they have a build that has a little bit lower of three-pointer, a little bit lower of shooting badges, and that's not going to be the most common thing in this next-gen stuff. Honestly, I feel like for everybody to have 90 three-pointer and 20 shooting badges is going to be pretty common, but if you have somebody with a build like mine, where it's more of like a pure lockdown slasher type, where that has good playmaking with my small forward 6'8", but I only have 81 three-pointer and 6 shooting badges, the boost of Dimer is massive for my build. As far as what I've seen from playing with people who have Dimer versus playing with people who don't, it just like shoots my consistency through the roof as far as like how well I can shoot the ball. So it is what it is. That's obviously very self-explanatory, and I probably talked about Dimer a little bit too much. So coming in the S tier, we got the king of the playmaking badges, the quick first step. Now the thing about this badge that's so ridiculous for this year in particular is the fact that with that power forward 6'7" build, even with 81 speed with ball, you can get the Hall of Fame quick first step. And that is tremendously impactful when it comes to you moving more quickly. I gotta say, like, the difference between gold and Hall of Fame quick first step is pretty ridiculous. However, I will also say you can still definitely dribble with just gold quick first step, especially if you decided on like a 6'6", 6'7" point guard or something like that, or you might have made the unfortunate mistake of making like a 6'5" PG, where if you could have gone 6'4", you could have just got Hall of Fame quick first step anyway. But let me just stick to the point. With this game that we have right now, and how pretty much everybody's going with a 6'7" power forward, it's pretty self-explanatory that this badge is that much more effective for that build. And then on top of it, just the use of the badge itself. Quick first step is obviously a game changer. This, when you go from nothing to bronze, nothing to silver, nothing to gold, or gold to Hall of Fame, like I said, all of the different levels to this is like super impactful, and it's just flat out the glue badge of playmaking. You need this to be able to move quickly. It's pretty self-explanatory. So anyway, that's all for the video. If you made it to the very end of the vid, put Playmaking in the comments to show your support you made all the way through. I just confused literally everybody who just fast forwarded to the end right here by flexing these badges down, but we don't have to explain that. I'll let them find it out for themselves as to why that happened. But anyway, that's all for the video. Like I said, if you made it to the end, put Playmaking in the comments to show your support. Let's try this 1 to 1K likes in the first 24 hours. And again, feel free to leave your feedback if you feel like I got anything wrong here, if you disagree with anything on the list. And then we'll have the shooting tomorrow. Again, if you guys want to check out the finishing and defense, you already have those, and I'll go ahead and try and put them in the end of screen annotations that are popping up right now. But anyway, that's all for the vid. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.